The most dangerous thing you could do in Egyptology was not grave robbing. It was being right about the wrong thing. September 16th, 2002, National Geographic drills through Gantenbrink's door. The feed cuts to black. When it returns, officials describe a second blocking stone. Unedited frames tell a different story. A long, thin object on the chamber floor. The object was never acknowledged. The witnesses were told they did not see what they saw. This is not an isolated case. We will return to Gantenbrink's discovery in a moment. In 1872, Wayneman Dixon and Dr. James Grant entered the Queen's chamber of the Great Pyramid. They were not looters, they were engineers curious about the northern shaft and where it led. What they found inside that narrow passage were three objects: a stone ball, a bronze hook, and a piece of cedar wood small enough to hold in one hand. The artifacts traveled to Britain, where they vanished, not destroyed, not lost, simply absorbed into a private family collection. For over a century, no scholar examined them, no museum cataloged them. They sat in a tin box, forgotten. The official timeline of the Great Pyramid remained fixed at roughly 258 BC. Then, in the 2000s, a curator named Abir El-Adani found them. She was cataloging the university's miscellaneous collections when she recognized objects for what they were. The cedar wood was sent for testing. Two independent laboratories carbon dated that fragment. The results placed it between 3,341 BC and 3,094 BC. That is up to 500 years before the pyramid was supposed to exist. The findings were published in a peer-reviewed archaeology journal in 2020. The Egyptian Antiquities Establishment responded almost immediately. Zahi Hawass, the most recognizable voice in Egyptian archaeology, dismissed the finding outright. The wood, he said, could have been left by workers at any time. A single sample proves nothing. The statement was brief, but its effect was total. The official narrative continued exactly as if the dating had never occurred. Abir El-Adani, the woman who rediscovered the relics, was never invited to present her findings on Egyptian television. She was not featured at major conferences. Her discovery was reduced to a footnote in a story that had already decided its ending. The Dixon case established a template that would repeat for over a century. Physical evidence is not refuted with counter evidence. It is buried under institutional silence. In 1993, a German engineer named Rudolf Gantenbrink did something no Egyptologist had done. He sent a small robot up the southern shaft of the Queen's chamber. Its mission was straightforward: to navigate the narrow passage and transmit a video of whatever lay at the end. The robot climbed nearly the full length of the shaft before it stopped. The camera showed a limestone slab fitted with two copper fittings. This was not fallen debris. This was a deliberate blocking door, the first ever discovered inside the Great Pyramid. The date was March 22nd, 1993. The New York Times reported on it 3 weeks later. The headline read, "Robot Explorer Finds Door in Pyramid, then is ordered to stop." The article appeared on April 16th. And the phrasing was precise. Gantenbrink was not ordered to pause. He was ordered to stop. He was not an archaeologist, and that was precisely the problem. The Egyptian Antiquities Organization did not control him. He was an engineer. His discovery threatened a narrative owned by people who had not made it. Within weeks, he was blocked from further exploration. His equipment was sidelined. His published project reports became not a scientific record, but a testimony of professional exile. The door sat unopened for 9 years. When National Geographic finally drilled through it, Rudolf Gantenbrink was not invited to witness the event. His name was stripped from the official narrative. Gantenbrink's door was finally opened on live television, September 16th, 2002. National Geographic aired Egypt's Secret Chamber live. The broadcast was a global event. The Great Pyramid would finally give up a secret sealed for 4.5 millennia. A camera was inserted through the hole. For a few seconds, it showed the inside of the small cavity beyond the blocking stone. Then the feed went black. The silence was not a technical glitch. It was absolute. Viewers stared at a blank screen waiting for a signal that never came. For several minutes, the broadcast was simply gone. The official response when it came was a single sentence: a technical difficulty had interrupted the feed. No mention of the object, no mention of what the camera had captured. The broadcast resumed as if nothing had happened. When the image returned, the camera showed a second blocking stone. Officials described what lay ahead as another sealed passage. But the unedited frames preserved by the independent researchers told a different story. On the floor of that chamber, clearly visible in the moments before the blackout, lay a mysterious object, something that did not belong, and something that was never mentioned in any official report. The discoverer here was not a single named figure. It was the technician who saw the object live and the millions of viewers who witnessed the broadcast. Those witnesses were told, in effect, that they did not see what they saw. Officials simply denied that anything unusual had occurred. In the days that followed, independent researchers shared screenshots of the object online. The official narrative ignored them. Officially, there was nothing unusual in the chamber. The image was a trick of the light, but the unedited video, frame by frame, showed a solid object, not a shadow. The footage was erased from the official record. It reveals the modern mechanism of erasure, not physical removal of artifacts, but removal of the record itself. But that is only the surface. More intriguing and more upsetting evidence is still to come. In 2017, physicists and engineers published a paper in one of the world's most respected scientific journals. The title was direct: Discovery of a Big Void in Khufu's Pyramid. They used a technique borrowed from particle physics to image the internal structure of the Great Pyramid, all this without moving a single stone. They found an enormous cavity sitting directly above the Grand Gallery. The methodology was peer-reviewed. The anomaly could not be dismissed as a construction gap. It was too large, too deliberate. Zahi Hawass responded through international media on November 2nd, 2017. He said, "The void is nothing," he said. "They didn't discover anything. The researchers were not invited to conduct further investigation." In official statements, the void was relabeled a construction gap, a phrase that neutralizes without explaining. Physics had found something. The gatekeepers declared it irrelevant. The pattern repeated in 2022. An independent research team claimed to have detected massive subterranean structures using satellite radar. The Egyptian Ministry of Antiquities did not engage with the data. It labeled the researchers pyramidists and fabricators. The label is the weapon. It transforms independent researchers into figures unworthy of serious engagement. Their findings become invisible by classification, not by refutation. In 1837, Colonel Howard Weiss blasted his way into the burial chamber of the third pyramid at Giza. Inside, he found a sarcophagus carved from a single block of dark volcanic stone. It belonged to Pharaoh Menkaure. The sarcophagus was not merely decorative. Its sides were carved with intricate architectural patterns, a masterpiece of Old Kingdom stonework. Weiss described it as the most beautiful example of its kind ever discovered in Egypt. He arranged for its shipment to the British Museum. The vessel carrying it sailed from Alexandria in October 1838 off the coast of Spain. A storm caught the ship. The crew survived. The sarcophagus went to the bottom of the Mediterranean. What remains today is a single drawing held in the British Museum's archives. The physical object is gone. No scholar can test its stone, date its manufacture, or question its inscriptions. The loss is not random. The pattern of disappearance around pyramid discoveries is too consistent to be an accident. Dixon's relics were absorbed into a private collection and forgotten for a century. Gantenbrink's door was sealed by bureaucracy and his equipment confiscated. The tool in the 2002 chamber was edited out of the broadcast. And Menkara's sarcophagus lies somewhere on the Mediterranean seafloor. Each case is a separate event. Set side by side, they reveal a single operating principle. Isn't that intriguing and more upsetting? The curse of the pharaohs is not supernatural, it is administrative. It operates through access, restriction, professional discrediting, and control of the official timeline. Every discoverer named in this investigation encountered the same sequence. Their findings were absorbed, their names were removed, the pyramid remained officially unaltered. This is not a conspiracy, it is a system of gatekeeping. The Egyptian Antiquities Authority issues research permits for all archaeological work in the country. It decides who is a credible investigator and who is a pyramidiot. The distinction does not rest on evidence, it rests on how closely your conclusions align with the accepted chronology. Anything that challenges that chronology is declared not to exist. The mechanism is straightforward. No debate is required because there's nothing to debate. The silence is not accidental, it is the point. If the Dixon cedar predates the pyramid by 500 years, if a rod-like tool rests in a sealed chamber behind a door cut from solid limestone, if a 30-meter void is nothing, then the official story is not a history, it is a boundary. The question remains open: what else has been found and who else has been silenced? By the time the Beatrice sank, nothing looked the way anyone predicted. The system that was supposed to protect the discoveries became the thing that erased the discoverers. The silence is not accidental, it is the story nobody told. Until now. For over a century, the evidence vanished while the pyramid stood unchanged. Well, now the record is shifting. Subscribe for more history uncovered investigations and share this before it gets buried again. Every view is a record they cannot delete.